All right, welcome back to Fucking Sucks, the podcast, episode 15. Today on the show, Dan Crenshaw sucks. You all knew that, but we're going to tell you another reason why. We have a major update with the trans swimmers we're obsessed with. We have a new cringe of the week involving a preschool teacher who has a very strange pronoun. And they're finally telling the truth about COVID. Only 2 years after us, but at least they're doing it. This and a whole lot more. It's Fucking Sucks, the podcast, episode 15, ranked the best new podcast of all time.
Because words are just words until action actually starts. And actions speak louder than words, but at the same time, words speak louder than actions because sometimes it's the right thing to do. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Fucking Sucks, the podcast, featuring Richard Graham.
One and done.
One and done. Okay, we are back. Happy to be back in the chair. Great episode last week. Last week's podcast got over 60,000 views already.
Yeah.
Very good showing.
That's just YouTube.
That's just YouTube. I was just going to say that. So thank you to everyone who's watching. The show is growing. We love doing it. Couldn't do it without you. Keep leaving us 5 stars. We appreciate it. Moving on into the show. Cringe of the week this week. We have a fantastic cringe of the week. It's another one of these pronoun people. Let's take a look.
Don't mind how I look. I know I look raggedy. It's the end of the day. So I'm a non-binary preschool teacher.
They're always barking out orders right at the beginning. So like, don't worry about how I look. It's like,
oh,
okay.
Sorry. What else should I do?
So I'm a non-binary preschool teacher, and my kids know I'm non-binary. They know I'm not a girl or a boy. I use they, them pronouns in the classroom. We work on it. Not all the kids get it. That's okay. And I go by Mix Gray in the classroom, not Miss or Mr. Mix. And today, one of the kids goes, hey, we've got 2 boy teachers in the classroom because the other teacher in the classroom at the time was a guy. And I go, no, there's not. I'm not a girl or a boy, remember? And she goes, oh my God, wait, does that mean you're dead? So I think that's my new gender now.
Dead.
I think I'm going to change all my gender settings to dead.
Dead. Just like your name. Dead named, right?
Just like the old name you used to have. So all these pronoun people, I'm noticing, they're all like, oh, my pronouns are based on like my experience and my life, whatever. Like all the things in their life have like accumulated to make them this pronoun. And it's like, what life experiences? What have you ever done or accomplished? Now it's like she's going to be in charge of teaching the youth. And she's mad because people aren't playing Harry Potter with her. They're not calling her Mix. Mix is her name.
Mix. They're just pretending. And preschoolers are, what, 3 and 4 years old?
3 to 4 years old. And they listen to everything and, like, they are sponges.
I like that kid's instincts, though, saying, are you dead? Like, well, my bloodline is. Nobody's going to mate with me. So.
Exactly. And there's 2 genders. And that kid goes, all right, if you're not one of the 2, you got to be something bad, right?
Yeah.
And it was similar to remember the he, they last week?
Of course.
And it's like the people, once they get power, they're not going to look for equality. They're going to look for revenge. Yeah. So it's like this girl or whatever she is, she's been traumatized and no one's calling her the right pronoun, but now she's teaching the kids and the kids are going to learn today. And their kids' parents might not think she's the pronoun, but the 3 or 4 year old doesn't know what's going on. So they go, oh, you're not Mr., you're Mix. And they think that's a thing. Oh, you're not a boy or a girl. You could be something else. They're really coming down on the kids.
Yeah, and I think they're drawn to like low-level power, I'd call it, where you're in charge of the classroom and obviously, someone watches over you. This person isn't power hungry for CEO, like of a Fortune 100 company. They're not grinding, being like, I got to go to business school, then I'll flip this business, then I'll really have power. Yeah. It's like, just give me 30 kids that don't have a choice.
That's enough for her. You know how
extremely weird vibes, like a power hungry sort of
power hungry, and the way you're getting it is not by achievement or like beating everyone else and being competitive. It's by being placed in front of kids who are like, oh, how does the world work?
And then subverting how the world really
you're
works.
Like, well, you know how you thought there were boys and girls? There's actually a lot more.
Yeah,
I'm Mix.
I'm Mix.
I'm
great.
Mix. I'm Mix Gray. You know how last week, well, the same they had the dyed hair. This person has dyed hair too.
Yep.
I was thinking about it, and this is it's a new theory, but I think when it comes to my kids, eventually, I'm going to teach them. If you ever saw like a bright blue frog or a bright blue and red frog, you know to stay away because it's poisonous and it's dangerous.
Of course.
And your monkey brain deep down is like, oh, this looks venomous. This is bad.
Yep.
Same with these blue hair people. It's like, hey, buddy, you ever see a blue hair person? It's like they're dangerous. They're deranged. Don't let them touch you.
If they start talking about socioeconomic issues, step away.
Yeah, get away.
They don't have the answers.
Treat them like a venomous snake or a frog that you shouldn't touch, a poison dart frog.
Fair.
Basically the same thing.
And it's funny because every once in a while you meet someone who's like based or cool or a fan of the podcast or something, and it's like they have crazy hair, and it's like, come on, man, just get back to normal with us.
Yeah, just come, or be the exception. Be the exception, I guess.
But you're gonna fight for your life. You're gonna be fighting the whole time, and people are gonna be judging you as one way. So
it's the same energy as the pitbull people. It's like, I'm right. You have a pitbull. It's a kid thrasher. Be like our homie who posted the picture the other day of him in the Kid Thrasher shirt with his pit bull.
With a pit bull, dude. That looks great.
That's the right way to do it. You got to embrace it. So moving on.
That was not who I expected to buy it either.
Me neither.
So I like it.
I really like it because then it's like you're in on the joke and you get the joke and you get what we're saying and it's funny and you're not getting mad.
Yeah, and you don't care. Like it's your dog's good or whatever.
Yeah. If you want to get mad, wait till the Dan Crenshaw section. That's coming up soon and that's going to be good.
I figured up like
done.
We're gonna blow this guy up. No.
Moving on, we have a Penn swimmer update. This is another. I think every week on the show, I'm always vindicated. I'm always saying, "Remember, I said this, and then it happened. Remember, I said this, and then it happened, and it keeps happening."
Yep.
It happened again. Remember when I told everyone the only person who's going to beat Leah Thomas, the UPenn transgender swimmer, is another transgender person?
Yep.
Guys, it happened.
Roll the tape. You had a good run.
Yeah, you win. You're beating it by 38 seconds. The only other person that's going to beat you is another transgender person.
Yep.
So now it's men's sports.
Thank you. We will take it.
Yeah, we will take it. Guys, it happened. It 100% happened like 4 weeks later. I was pretty close.
This is at a swim meet at
was it Yale?
Dartmouth.
Oh, at Dartmouth, our alma mater. R.I.P. None of the girls didn't swim that day. I was fishing around trying to find like, hey, when any of the girls on the swim team want to not show up and protest Leah Thomas, but there actually was more.
Fleckus is like the murderer hanging out at the crime scene, like, hey, anybody want to protest this? Like he returns to the scene of the crime and is like, what's up? Whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah. So we didn't get any takers, but we were absolutely right. Leah Thomas lost to another transgender person from Yale, just like we said. And the transgender person from Yale, take a look at her. She's got legs like me.
She's got stocky.
And they're hairy, big legs like me. I'm not making fun of anybody, but that's what guys' legs look like.
That's just guys being guys.
That's just us guys, man. We got legs like that. You're in on it.
You're part of the group.
We got big legs like that. Me and you. It's interesting though because Leah Thomas is a woman because she's a man who says she's a woman. And they're like, okay, you're a woman.
Yep.
But the other transgender person is a woman becoming a man, but they're racing in the same thing.
So they're just jacked up on testosterone replacement therapy and
basically just taking steroids, just juicing.
Basically juicing, free juicing.
Yeah.
And so no interest from this Yale swimmer to go to the men's side?
No interest, I guess. No.
Is winning important to this swimmer probably or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe the coach as well. The men's swimmers, 100-meter winners, the winner's score was 44.91 seconds, and the last place was 48.39 seconds. And the new transgender girl from Yale, her score was 49.57, which would have put her in last place by a second in the men's league, which is kind of where you'd think...
That's where she should be.
She should be.
Right?
She should be, you're a woman who's becoming a man, you're not a full man, you're going to be a second behind the slowest man.
Yeah.
Instead, you're the first girl ahead of the other transgender person. So all these women's sports, no offense, women's sports aren't entertaining. No one likes to watch them, right?
Yeah.
But no offense.
But it's an awesome way to get into college, to get accolades, to feel good about yourself. Like there's a cycle.
Yeah.
Like
there's a culture, there's a community there for people that's like got history and roots. But no one likes watching women's sports. No offense. It's not entertaining. They're not that good. It's not that athletic. No offense, but it's great. Everyone loves it. No offense.
No offense.
No offense. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves watching women's sports. But I think it can get more interesting. I would never really watch women's sports, but if half the league was like dunking trans people,
freaks and oddities, and
trans people dunking on girls, I'd watch that. That'd be kind of crazy. So I think there's like a future here where there might even be a thing where it's like every team will have a couple transgender people, and then it's like it's their time.
The hitters.
Anyone who's against you, anyone who's against this, they're anti-trans. Like this is the trans people time. They've been kept quiet.
They've been oppressed for so long. You have no right to speak up.
Yeah,
you've never been trans.
And then the team just goes 12-0.
Easy 12-0. So the other thing is these are becoming kind of like political scenes. This swim meet, 2 trans swimmers, the girl who's juiced up on testosterone and chopped her boobs off, immediately after getting out of the pool, pops the top off. So it was like a message,
like a statement,
like my boobs are gone and now I have 2 big scars here. So they're causing scenes here. In this article, one of them that was summing it up, the best you can get right now for affluent people who send their kids to Penn not getting canceled, the best you can get is an anonymous quote. And so we got one from a Penn swimming mom saying, I wasn't prepared for that. Everything is messed up. I can't wrap my head around this. The NCAA needs to do something about this. They need to put science into the decision and discussion. So, but trust the science. A man is a woman. Don't worry about it. That's the science.
It's just the institutions. This is what the institutions believe. This is what they're going to do. And they didn't have to show their cards until now, but now we're getting towards the end of the hand.
Ladies, no one is coming to save your sport. No one is coming to save the integrity of your competition. So unless you start sitting out or have a discussion with your coach about not making this a sideshow.
And if that doesn't work, your coach is going to want to win. And he's going to be like, I don't want all this kickback. Start roasting these people.
Yeah. The coach makes...
Just go all out and roast them and say, this isn't fair. It's not fun. You're not going to win. So it's like, you might as well make sure they don't win. Maybe you have a chance after that. And if not, burn it down.
Hey, it's there. If you don't do something now, there's going to be nothing worth saving down the road. And every track record will be held by a young black guy in women's sports. And every swim world record is going to be by a 6'5" wingspan man who became a woman 8 months ago.
Or a girl with legs like mine, which is fine. That's what the legs look like. This is what you want. This is what you're signing up for. Yeah. Imagine telling someone in 1950, like they come back in time or they come forward in time and they watch and they see like the guy, you're like, hey, what are you doing out there? You dress like a Mary with all these girls. What are you doing?
Imagine Benjamin Franklin sitting at that swim meet just being like, what has happened?
I don't quite understand what is going on. So that's the update. We're obsessed with these people.
We try not to. We want to do different subjects. We just keep getting updates. Our stories the thread keeps pulling. So new transgender opposite sex person. We have to update you guys.
The show is brought to you by trans people now. Yeah. It's like sponsored by trans people. The show wouldn't exist without trans people. We'd have nothing to talk about.
Yep.
Which is kind of scary, but it's actually an upgrade.
We'd lean into urban decay, legal immigration a little bit more, all that sort of stuff.
Which I mean, hey,
pick your issue these days. Inflation's at an all-time 40-year high. The immigration's crazy.
You know who to go to for the nerd stuff. We're here to roast the freaks. Oh, man. All right, moving on. The funniest thing I saw this week on the internet. I was looking at Typical Liberals Instagram, great friend of the show, Grantley. We love him. His mom's a big fan of the show too.
Shout out to her.
Elle. It's our girl. I don't want to say her name.
Yeah, don't dox her.
But yeah, we love you. So this is the clip that he posted. It's actually hilarious. It's a commercial for a company called Plantation Shutters, which is probably why they get so much leftist kickback. Plantation Shutters.
I didn't even know that.
That's not for everybody. But here's the ad.
Manufactured in the USA, Plantation Shutters for You is your best choice for Plantation Shutters. Custom measured and installed just for you. Built to last forever. Call today for a free consultation. Discounts for all military and first responders. If you support Joe Biden and are a liberal, don't call us.
If you support Joe Biden and are a liberal, don't call us.
That's it. End of the line for you. And if we find out, you're cut off.
And is that not the way?
I think plantation blinds are just a type of blinds too.
Yeah.
So it's not like
it's not a reference to but
they're not dog whistling.
Yeah, they're not. But that's so funny to me, and I think that is the way. People call for national divorce, which isn't a real idea. It's not really going to happen. This is a nice little national separation, nice little trial separation for us.
Hey, you'd rather have 80% of half the population then 30% of the whole population, right?
Exactly.
Or actually, I don't know if
whatever
that math
the
works,
whatever the math is that adds up.
Yeah.
Exactly. At this point, everyone who's like scared to speak out or whatever, it's like the love you receive from the right always outweighs the hate from the left. And the people that hate you and, you know, whatever your company is, for this one, Plantation Shutters, what are they going to not buy Plantation Shutters more? Who cares? Everyone who does like you now is going to be like, oh, I do need new shutters. Maybe I do. Or if I ever do, that's who I'm going to call. And I think that is like the foundation we need for the long game to come back, because we have no institutions. We have no corporations on our side.
Yep.
Everything globalist-wise is against us. We need our own companies. And if that means shutting away crazy leftists or people who would see that and not laugh and get mad, then fine. Don't buy your shutters from me, dog.
And if you voted for Joe Biden or something and you think Joe Biden sucks, you'll laff at that commercial. You know, it's more the population than you think, because
Exactly.
it's tongue in cheek. Obviously, it's
The only people that wouldn't like that are like the 10%, 15% of the population that like is blindly pretending Joe Biden's doing great.
yeah,
Or 10% of
Ruth Conda
Democrats.
forever types. You know,
Yeah.
who would just go with anything. Joy Reid viewers, Rachel Maddow viewers, those types.
Double maskers. People are gonna, you know, make your kids sit outside in the cold or put your kids in the trunk of a car.
Been seeing more of those cold kids.
Yeah, we'll get
Eat
to that.
lunch and read your books outside. So
Second place for the funniest thing I saw this week was a VR wedding. This is pretty funny. This is like a metaverse thing where they had like a wedding metaverse. It's probably a bit, probably a sketch, but it's still great. Where they had like a metaverse wedding, and then here's what the people do that showed up.
We just want to say congratulations, right, guys?
Yeah. We're very happy for you.
Yeah. Way to, it was us four. We were single, and then this guy went and got married. I mean, what the
And they just destroy everything. It's pretty interesting because the metaverse, for me, is kind of like, I don't know, I go back to like video games 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where everyone was like playing Grand Theft Auto,
That
and you
was
go
the
in
metaverse.
rampage mode, and you just run people over with the car, you do drive-bys, you throw grenades.
you're on 5 stars. You're most wanted. Like, cops are gonna light you up as soon as you get out of your car.
And like you're ruthless and brutal. So like the whole thing, like the whole like Gamergate style controversies are gonna start coming around, I think, in the metaverse.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna say the N-word in the metaverse. You're allowed to.
Yeah.
You can.
Hey,
You can.
I identify as whatever I can be. And
Yep.
dude, these my favorite part is just the mischief of it. That's what I like.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna be in the metaverse, if you're gonna be doing metaverse shit, you might as well be stirring the pot and not, don't be the people having your wedding there. That's certainly not healthy.
Although I would like going to a metaverse. I'll go to a metaverse wedding.
As opposed to getting on a plane and wearing a mask.
Yeah, I'll just sit there and go on my phone, and I'll have a little skinny avatar.
Oh,
And
a
I'll go
little
to the-
dainty avatar, huh?
Yeah, and then I'll go to the wedding. Like I would do that.
Yeah.
over
and then
going to a wedding.
What happens is the whole wedding in the metaverse, or are you on like an iPad on wheels?
Oh, interesting. I was thinking the whole wedding's in the metaverse, but the iPad on wheels with my face.
So you're going to pitch like the bride and the groom, hey, do it in the metaverse so I don't have to fly to Kentucky.
Exactly.
Please.
So yeah, metaverse coming in strong still. I've also noticed a lot of videos, like movies. I watched The Matrix, the new one finally, and other ones too. A lot of movies now are pushing this idea of like machines and robots having like emotions and being kind of human-like.
Yeah.
So like Matrix did it where they had like a machine type guy as like the sidekick the whole time.
Neo was like more computer
Yeah.
programmed than he was
So
human.
that's interesting. I'm not going to extrapolate a theory yet. I probably could, but we're not there yet.
Do you think they want us to?
They want us to think that human life and robot AI is like synonymous eventually.
Okay.
Because I think they're going to like try to convince us to upload our consciousness to the metaverse like full time.
Okay.
After you die.
That's a Black Mirror
Instead of dying. And then they're going to kill us all in the metaverse.
And then if you die in the metaverse, you die in real life, which we've already established in episode 7.
Yep. So it's a working theory.
Okay.
It's a working theory.
Get it on the books and it might come true in like 2 months.
Yeah.
So.
The way we called Hot Honey, the way we called the pit bulls being problems, they're going to start really trying to humanize machines. And there's going to be like a confusion there that they're going to try and instill on the public.
Okay. I thought you were going to be more vulgar, more crude. Like they want you to bang the robots.
They want you to bang the robots.
Yeah, they want that for sure.
They definitely want that. And then once they create the things that make that easy, people are never going to leave their house.
Oh, yeah.
So
don't be one of those. Don't be one of those guys. Don't fall for it.
don't be one of those. Moving on to the most important section of the show.
Okay.
Guys, Dan Crenshaw sucks. We all know Dan Crenshaw sucks. The thing I don't like about him the most, he talks down to people. So there was like an event and someone said, hey, Dan, like voter fraud, are you going to do something about it? And he's like, you're an idiot. You think voter fraud had anything to do with the election? You think there was enough votes stolen to blah, blah, blah. You're an idiot. He says you're an idiot to everybody. He said, oh, you're so, you're dumb if you think ending endless wars is a good political stance. Like, you're stupid. He always talks down to people. And it's weird because I was kind of coming at him on Twitter this week, and there was no one defending him in the comments, which is interesting.
Yeah.
There's no one like, hey, Dan, no, Dan's great. Like, don't say that. It's not true. All Dan's supporters are boomers who see that he was in the military. He's a veteran. He's got an eye patch. And they're like, Dan Crenshaw's a war hero. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
And they salute him. And that's the same thought process that pretty much brought us John McCain and allowed John McCain to maintain power and do what he did for so long. And look what it ended up happening. At the end, when he had to really do the right thing, they called him up and he didn't do it.
And he voted against repealing Obamacare.
Exactly.
At the 50th vote.
And that's who Dan Crenshaw is going to be. And I'm not just doing this for no reason. The reason I'm bringing this up is because my friend Alex Brusewitz, who has a company called X Strategies, they do like social media, conservative, right-leaning media for Congress people, clients, whatever. There's a ton of groups like that. They're good at it. And they've been going after Dan Crenshaw, saying Dan Crenshaw supports red flag laws. Dan Crenshaw is against election fraud. He's not MAGA, all these things.
Yeah.
And this is why we have this segment in the show.
This is why it bubbled up.
This is why it bubbled up, Dan. I didn't want to do this, Dan. I don't usually go after people in the videos, but
and
it's over.
especially people on the right.
Yeah.
You don't want to be infighting. Like,
we don't want to be infighting, Dan. We don't want to be infighting. But when you go out of your way and you spend hours as a congressman, you're spending hours calling people on the phone, trying to get them to cancel their business with Alex Brusewitz and X Strategies and Derek Utley.
Yep.
Because they're going and talking about you badly on Twitter. And they're saying true things. It's not like they're lying and they're slandering you. They're going on Twitter saying the things Dan Crenshaw has done that are not good, they're not Republican, they're not conservative. And now he's calling people that work with X Strategies and Alex Brusewitz, and he's offering them, if they're congressional candidates, he's offering them $5,000 to stop working with Alex Brusewitz. Busy guy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're busy, Dan.
You have that much time?
Oh, wow. Must be nice to be so free and with your time. But voter fraud, don't worry about that. Joe Biden got 83 million votes, no problem. Red flag, who cares?
That's so weird.
But you're going at it. You're calling all these people to cancel Alex Brusewitz, a 24-year-old with a business, because he's being mean to you on Twitter. And there's so many. Was everything else done, Dan? Are we all good everywhere else? 2020 wasn't stolen. Joe Biden got 83 million votes. That's true. And then he won. He got 83 million votes legit.
81? Isn't it 81?
He got 81 million. He got 81 million votes legit. Is that what we're going off of, Dan? You're not busy. You don't have to figure that out. 81 million votes. Oh, I guess we have some free time. We're gonna go get Alex Brusewitz canceled now. That's what Dan Crenshaw is up to, and he's been exposed by a lot of people. Ian Smith Fitness called him out. He said that Ian Smith Fitness, after Ian Smith Fitness called him out, Dan Crenshaw replied by saying Ian Smith Fitness is a patriot LARPer. The guy who has a gym that he kept open, I think it's in New Jersey or New York. Yeah, New Jersey.
Belmar, right?
Yeah. So the guy who has a gym he kept open in New Jersey, no masks, no COVID regulations. He didn't do it. He ate like millions in fines.
Fines were racking up every day.
Every day. He would just stand tall and just say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not imposing these unconstitutional things on my clients, on my customers, my gym goers.
A small business owner fighting for his own small business during a time of like tyrannical shutdowns is a patriot LARPer.
Yeah. And the guy who said all the things about COVID being wrong and proven right. Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. Now he's proven right. He's a patriot LARPer. Dan Crenshaw called him that. So Alex Brusewitz posted a video calling out Dan Crenshaw, and then Ian Smith commented, remember that time he called me a patriot LARPer? LOL, still getting over that, or still not over that, or whatever.
Yeah.
And Don Jr. liked that comment, which tells us the MAGA base is done with you. The Trumps are done with you. We'd primary you if we could.
He'd like to comment, but yeah.
Based on what I'm seeing,
yeah.
The MAGA base is done with you. Trumps are done with you. No one believes in you. You've had 1.1 million followers for the last 2 years. You're not growing in audience. Your message isn't resonating. People don't actually like you. You're not likable. The best thing you had going for you is the only reason you have a base is the boomers think because you have an eye patch and you were in the military, you're going to do something.
Yeah.
We all know that that's a scam. So, Dan Crenshaw, you're done. Keep hanging out with Pete Davidson, Nikki Haley. You notice how he gets invited on like Trevor Noah and SNL?
Yeah.
It's not because he's so smart and he's the only one willing to talk to them. It's because they know that he's the future good boy.
Yeah.
He's the one who's going to sell out the Republicans down the line. He's the next generation of establishment Republican rhino. So they know they bring him around and then they'll be like, oh, why can't everyone be like Dan Crenshaw and Liz Cheney?
They'll elevate him for when they need him, right?
Exactly. Bring him on Trevor Noah and he'll go, and Trevor Noah will say, oh, wow, Dan, we agree on climate change. Why can't every Republican be like Dan
Why
Crenshaw?
don't they just get it? Why don't they just get it?
Yeah, Liz Cheney and Dan Crenshaw, Meghan McCain. Why can't we be like them? Keep doing it. Go hang out with Pete Davidson. You're done. The base is done with you. We can't primary you yet because we don't want to primary you with. But after we get people like Kinzinger out of office, you're the next Kinzinger up, buddy. You're Adam Kinzinger part 2. And you're going to be taken out of office by votes.
You see that forum of young global leaders shaping the future thing?
Of course, him, Alex Soros,
Tulsi Gabbard, Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
David DeRothschild, and Megan Rapinoe.
And he goes, oh, I
Soccer.
told him to take that off. Oh, well, they didn't, Dan. And you're still up there. So, yeah, keep looking into red flag laws, Dan. Keep believing the election was fair. Joe Biden got 81 million votes, buddy. Thanks for the help, pal.
If they do a red flag law, it'll be a they-them reviewing your application or something so quick. It'll
Yeah.
be some sort of they-them, like who goes, this guy likes the Constitution a little too much. Denied with a stamp. Like it's a joke. You don't give anybody an inch because they will take 10 miles.
And Dan Crenshaw gives the inch.
Don't give the inch,
He's
Dan.
happy to do it. So, Dan, hopefully you're just like a congressman who gets primaried eventually by a super based MAGA person and you get voted out in 2024. But don't try to run for president.
Or change. Start doing the right thing. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not...
Maybe do the right thing. I think he's done. I think he's already compromised. He's done.
Okay.
You're done, Dan. You can't recover this. It's over.
Yeah.
So just stop. You're done. Don't run for president. Don't run for governor. We don't trust you. You're not likable. And the further you go, the uglier it's going to be. So just please stop. Stop fighting with 25-year-olds. You're a 24-year-old kid. You're calling people and saying, I'll give you $5,000 if you don't work with them anymore. It's like, isn't that so embarrassing? You have nothing better to do with your time. You're trying to get Alex Brusowitz canceled and they stole the election and they're doing all these COVID things. And January 6th is like a terrorist attack. And it's like, you're fighting about Alex Brusowitz. Well, you're a busy guy, Dan.
Or a free time guy. Or he must have a lot of free time.
Yeah, a lot of free. He's busy. No. Election fraud. No need to look into that. He's busy trying to get Alex Brusowitz canceled for $5,000. Oh, Dan, busy guy. All right, we're done talking about it. Bringing us to our next thing, a sponsor of the show, Dan Crenshaw Sucks merch. Dan Crenshaw Sucks hat. Dan Crenshaw Sucks mug. If you're wondering, hey, I think Dan Crenshaw sucks, how can I express that without just saying it? I keep saying it, it doesn't do anything. Now's the time to get a Dan Crenshaw Sucks hat or a mug. You can walk around, everyone see you drinking coffee, and they go, that guy thinks Dan Crenshaw sucks. And that's who I am. I'm gonna wear it around. People are gonna go, oh, this guy thinks Dan Crenshaw sucks. That's great. That's who I wanna hang out with. That's who I would trust to help me with a project. Me. The guy who thinks Dan Crenshaw sucks. So use code RHINO, R-I-N-O. And the shirt is 15% off. It's under $20. You're getting it's a shirt for under $20. That doesn't exist, guys.
This is going to be a good barometer of whether or not, the people agree with us. Does Dan Crenshaw sucks? What are we working with here audience-wise?
Yeah. Exactly.
Show us.
You show us. I think it's going to sell a lot. We sold a lot more Kid Thrasher shirts than I thought. We're going to sell a good amount of Dan Crenshaw Sucks. Maybe Dan, they're selling Crenshaw Sucks shirts. Maybe you should go send me a cease and desist, Dan. You have nothing else to do. Busy guy, Dan. If you send me a cease and desist on the Crenshaw Sucks merch, Dan, it's going to really show how busy you're not, buddy. So go get the election figured out. Go figure out how Joe Biden sent 81 million votes through the machine somehow. And figure it out so it doesn't happen again, buddy. Until then, use code RHINO, 15% off, shopfleckers.com, best merch in the game. best shirts, best merch, best sponsors. Dan Crenshaw sucks. We're moving on.
Completely independent.
Completely independent. And that's the best part. And that's why I thought it's time, you know, when it comes to the fight, right?
Yeah.
Flecka steps up on the street with the street videos we started off doing. Those were great. To the protesters, something in my head was like, I can take these people on. The next one is the transgenders. The transgenders do too much. And then I say, oh, I'm going to step up and take the transgenders on. And then Dan Crenshaw. Do you know why? Because he's calling everyone and saying, oh, you work with Alex Brucewitz? I'll give you $5,000 to your campaign if you stop right now. Who are you going to call for me, Dan? You going to call the t-shirt place who sells the Crenshaw Suck shirts? I don't think it's going to work out.
Probably.
Who are you going to call, Dan? No one pays me. No one's above me.
It's like, here, let me get my manager. And then you turn around and then you're, hey, what's up?
Exactly. Here, let me get the manager, turn around, flip my hat around and go, how can I help you?
Yeah.
So if you want to come for me, Dan, good luck. There's nothing really to go for. You can't take anything away from me. I'm already independent. Unless you're tight with big tech like you are with the new Twitter CEO. I know you're tight with her. And maybe we're involved in Marjorie Taylor Greene getting taken off. Maybe.
Whoa, allegations.
That's an allegation, but those are some dots that are easy to connect when you're mad at Dan.
Yeah. So you start seeing things clearly.
I start seeing things real clearly, Dan. That's why I'm telling you, there's no one to call. There's no one I work for. There's no one above me. It's over. If you want to keep fighting, we can keep fighting, but it's not going to be pretty because you can't take me down.
Are you holding back anything? Do you have any sort of, ammunition if he hits you back?
Well, I'll tell you this. I didn't shoot everything I got. Why would I? Why would I shoot everything I got? This is going to be a multiple. We're going to build on this every week like we do with the transgender topics. And we're going to keep checking in. Maybe Dan will improve his behavior and start focusing on the things that matter, his constituents, and not the big donors that pay him, not the people that want to pass red flag laws, not hanging out with Pete Davidson like everyone else.
Yeah.
Like one of these girls hanging out with Pete Davidson, Dan. What's that all about? Moving on. We never got that intense, I don't think. I don't think I've ever yelled like that before.
Yeah. It's a new wave. Swinging. That's called the swinging section.
Yeah.
Where you swing on someone.
It's the swinging section. And like I said, it's only because there's no one that Dan's trying to cancel people. So I'm uncancelable. I'm obligated to step up to the front line and face Dan head on. You can't cancel me, Dan. You have to deal with the facts. Deal with it, Dan, or don't.
You're stupid.
Yeah.
How many people watched that video? 60,000?
Yeah.
Like that's his
dumb.
reply.
You're an idiot. You think Joe Biden's not the president? Dumb. Oh, you think the COVID stuff you said forever was true? It was. Come get me, Dan. What are you going to get me on? And if you want to, I don't even want to go there. Dan.
Don't do it.
But if you wanted to like wrestle and put some gis on and get into the mat and do some, I don't want to.
What is a gi? Is that
It's like the robe, the karate robe.
Okay.
I'm joking. But I'm just saying, I'm trying to cover all my tracks. There's nothing that Dan can get me on. If you want to wrestle, buddy, I'm unpinnable. Moving on. My favorite meme of the week.
All right.
Yeah.
What is it?
You think we were good with Dan?
Yeah.
It's settled.
I think so. Dan, I picture just Dan like watching through like 20 minutes of like transgender stuff just to get to his section on the video. And then it's like, if he responds, like the same thing we said, best new podcast of all time. It's like, oh, well, if somebody says no, then we're in the conversation. And I like the idea of Dan responding to someone named Richard Ratboy.
Well, Richard. All right,
yeah.
Dan, bring it, Dan. Come on the show, buddy. Come on the show, bud. I want to talk it out with you. You're a good guy, fun guy hanging out with. Have a couple drinks, Dan. All right, moving on. My favorite meme of the week comes from someone within the Fleckus Richard Ratboy, Jerry the Famous Rottweiler, Jerry Pigman, the other account.
Jerry Pigman, yeah.
Fleckus Life. The Instagram family. There's an Instagram account called Chinese Donut Boy, who is my favorite. And this is the meme. This is my favorite meme of the week. It really resonates with me. It was the person clicking the button that says send me a text instead of a call. And the reason being, I don't like it. I don't like the call, which is, that's me, buddy.
Justified.
Yeah.
That's a simple enough explanation for me. You got it, pal.
Yeah. And I saw that, and Chinese Donut Boy is a great account. Follow him. It really resonated. I myself am a person who hears a knock at the door, and I don't go to the door to answer it, because who could it be?
I immediately think, who are scheduled to come over? Do I need to interact with this person?
And it's like, nobody. Okay. Who's at the door? someone's going to suck my soul. Someone's going to eat my life and ruin my day.
Hey, you hear about our new roofing? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, those solar panels or something. I'm a renter. And it's just the worst. So the other day, it actually happened. Literally that exact thing. The other day, I heard a knock on the door, and I'm like, you know what? As a man, I have to be responsible. If there's a knock at the door, I need to go answer it. And usually I leave it, I'm going to go. And then I did, and it was some guy trying to sell me solar panels and then trying to get the information of the homeowner. And I'm like, dude, now I'm not going to answer the door ever again.
Yeah, you just ruined it for the next 15 guys.
Exactly.
Congrats.
Just be some lady who's like, I have a flat tire right in front of your house. I'm trying myself.
I just need someone who's strong enough to get this lug nut off.
So, yeah, favorite meme was that. Follow Chinese Donut Boy. He's a great account. Moving on. So I was trying to say a simulation happening in real life the other day. Novak Djokovic, the tennis player.
Yeah.
Right? He's a famous guy. He's good at tennis.
Top
Went to Australia, didn't have a vaccine, and they're trying to give him a hard time. Novak. No vax.
The simulation isn't even trying.
It's not even creative. It's so easy. Once you see the simulation and you start pointing things out, it's just like you're 6 levels above the next person.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Has anybody else made that? No vax memes?
No. I just heard it, and I'm like, Novak Djokovic, and I'm like, you're saying no vax.
Yeah.
And his whole life was meaningless until this moment.
I think it was a pretty good life.
Yeah, he's got a great life.
He's got a ton of cash and
everyone
sponsors.
this week talking about mass formation psychosis, right? Dr.
Yeah.
Malone's thing.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. And I love seeing this because now everyone on the left is coming to defend and be like, that's not true. That's not psychologically proven. It's like, guys, we make culture, This Week in Culture, for 100 weeks or something. We have all of the evidence. I know if I look on Twitter and Google, all the videos are scrubbed off at this point.
Yeah.
But we've done this for like 2 years. It's 100%.
We have an exact catalog of the emotional toll and like manipulation that was used on COVID. We got it.
Yeah.
We have the documents.
All the way up. And then we have like people like this, who's a lady who's wearing a COVID negative test as her earrings.
Slay Queen.
Yeah. And it's like, that's your religion, pal. I know you think your grandma was stupid because she believed in the guy in the sky and wore like a cross or was like a Catholic old lady.
Yeah.
But you're doing it too for something for Dr. Fauci.
For like a human Muppet.
Yeah. Who's tricking everyone and putting the world into like global tyranny.
But so, I mean, it's clearly the veil is coming off a little bit now, right? Like the narrative is shifted from people admitting the comorbidities thing, people admitting hospitalized with COVID versus hospitalized from COVID.
Isn't that interesting?
Which we've been talking about for 18 months.
Yeah. It's like everyone now is, the CDC director, I guess because Joe Biden's in office. In the beginning, it was like cases and deaths.
Yeah.
200,000 deaths under Trump. Joe Biden said he should be impeached for that. And it's like now we're at 800,000. And we're like, oh, actually, the numbers. And now it's like not in their best interest to push COVID because people are so done with COVID.
Yeah.
And now the numbers, if they go the same way they tracked them with Trump, are looking bad for Biden. But it's like we just found out this week from the CDC that 75% of the COVID deaths, people had 4 comorbidities or more. 4, which is a ton.
Yeah, what is that? You're like every engine light is on.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, my oil's low, my fucking heart's too big and everything. Like, that's a lot.
And now I got COVID. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're dead. Like, just like if you got the flu with all that, you'd probably be in pretty bad shape too. So that's all the stuff that we were saying for literally almost 2 years. Like I put these videos out in May of 2020.
Yeah, he was watching the old doctor videos last night. Like,
yeah, getting ready for this.
Like, how many times was I right?
And it's like we said the masks don't work unless they're like real masks, like N95 or above. The cloth masks do nothing. It's like throwing sand through a chain link fence. I've been saying that for 2 years. We said that how many the number of deaths that are from COVID versus with COVID. We figured out that the cases weren't accurate. Hospitalization, the overrun hospitals theory was not right because hospitals need to run near capacity. Anyway, it's completely normal to go over capacity and get sent somewhere else. Like we went through every single thing, even the treatments.
Yeah.
Hydroxychloroquine, talked about that in May of 2020 and I got deleted from YouTube. My video got taken down.
Strike.
I got a strike. I got warnings. People write articles about me saying I'm a conspiracy theorist. Well, I've been right the whole time. And I'm also on the class action lawsuit with Donald Trump against big tech for literally this. Taking those videos down when I said all the true things. And then you might say, oh, Fleckus, you're not a doctor. What do I know? Oh, I'm not. but it was very easy to find doctors who were very smart, world-renowned people with everything to lose who were screaming, guys, this isn't right. The media's lying. This is the way you deal with the virus. Here's some treatments. The masks don't work. And I heard them and I go, oh, this rings true. Let's go look into that.
Yeah.
And it turns out we were right. Now Jake Tapper's on TV saying, oh, you mean there's a difference of dying from COVID versus with COVID? That doesn't sound right. Oh, thanks, Jake. And a busy day for you too. You and Dan Crenshaw are busy, huh?
Jake always scouring that data, that information. He really loves getting into the weeds of it.
And he puts his brow down like, you mean to tell me that, yeah, Jake, I told you that. The Spoon YouTube guy almost 2 years ago. I should get, guys, besides leaving 5-star review, nominate me for the Pulitzer.
Yeah, let's get him a
And
Pulitzer.
we'll get it, and I'm not even going to go. And then they'll send it, and we'll just have it on the wall as a joke, or we'll throw it in the ocean. I don't know. I'm not going to go. It's a bit like we don't believe in it. It's such a good thing. Like I should win.
Yeah. So, okay, back to the COVID thing. Do you think that Joe Biden and the Democrats and like the whole machine, Democrat machine and bureaucracy got this COVID stuff all pumping and they're like, let's get it all into place to ruin the end of Trump's term?
100%.
They're getting into place. And so now do you think they lost control of it? It's too big because obviously having this many cases right now and this reporting and hospitalizations, et cetera, is bad for the Democrats. They're in power. I'm going to stop this virus. And it's the worst it's ever been with a milder variant.
Yeah.
But so do you think the wheels are off? Like they sent the train down the track and now it's like, we can't stop it anymore. There's too many actors in this.
Yeah. And I think they know they need to kind of get away from it because people are so checked out. I think they thought they could have taken it further and like through 2022, ideally.
Yeah.
So they can like, I think kind of like the way it's going to go, it's like you're either going to let it fizzle out and still have mail-in votes and try to steal the election that way.
Yeah.
Or you do what they're doing in Canada, France, Australia, where you double down and you see, like, for example, what Trudeau said the other day.
Yeah.
He said people who are against the vaccine, they're not, the same as other citizens, and they're usually misogynistic and racist.
That's like the step on the genocide cycle, like starting to define others and, whatever, separating the populations. So it's like he's 2 steps away from
people in Canada getting mad with, they don't have any guns, I guess. So basically, it's like
got
whatever
a few hunting rifles for the moose, eh?
Yeah, exactly. That's literally all they have. They have a couple sportsman rifles, but all these countries like that, France, Canada, Australia, that's where like the globalists beta test their plan. And the goal, the final jewel on the glove.
The crown jewel is
on
the
Thor's
United
glove.
States.
Is that it? No.
Yeah. Not
guy.
Thor.
The other guy. Thanos' glove. That jewel.
Oh, and then Thanos does this, and then Thor comes out of nowhere and he saves the day.
But that final jewel on Thanos' glove is America. That's the one they want.
That's the crown jewel.
So they tried it on other places, whatever, but that's the one they want. They know, I think in America, the politicians know that it's not a winning strategy. People are done with it. I think the best they can do is kind of chill on it as it gets into summer and spring because it's going to naturally calm down anyway and try to do mail-in ballots again and steal the election that way.
Yeah. Trudeau is saying a lot of inflammatory stuff like, are you okay, bro? Are you okay? Like, these are words that are fighting words.
Remember, he was always like a Muppet and like a liberal Muppet.
Yeah,
and
of course.
He's
It's she-story or whatever.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's her story.
Like that's their hitter. Like the president of their country is saying dumb shit forever, and now it's COVID time. You think he's gonna go, no, the truth is not this. He's gonna say, what do I need to do? What do I need to sign? He's like a theater teacher.
Yeah, he's a joke.
He's a literal theater teacher. That was like his job. And the people are getting crazy. Like the people who are done with it are done with it, and the people who are getting wound up worse are getting crazier. Mm-hmm. This week, a lady got arrested for putting her 13-year-old who tested positive for COVID in the trunk and brought him to like a place.
She thought that was a great idea when it was happening.
And it's like the kid's got a cold, basically.
The humanity.
Do you remember growing up when I got sick? Mm-hmm. And I stayed home from school. My mom would take care of me.
Yeah, of course.
And I never once remember her ever being like, oh, the food's outside the door, like worrying about herself getting sick. Never. She's a G. All these women are weak and they're scared.
Yeah.
And this is what they're doing.
They're worked up, right? They're worked up by, you want to talk about misinformation. They're worked up by crazy statistics they heard on Rachel Maddow that have since been corrected because the people had 4 comorbidities. You know, it's all the same thing. So,
But the emotional damage is already done.
Yeah.
And these scared people are bad. My mom is actually another person we can shout out. She's a big fan of the show. The other day, I texted her. So I said to my mom, Tucker's talking about Asian Muppets, and then she replied, I know, he's always copying you. I love that energy. You're absolutely right. He is always copying me. But yeah, so everyone now on the left who's really wound up is getting more wound up. These also are the people who are tweeting things like, oh, you know, if an anti-vaxxer dies from COVID, it's kind of ghoulish to mock them, but it's necessary.
yeah.
That's their new stance. Mock me, dog.
They want us dead. We've said it before.
They want us dead, and they're not even hiding it anymore.
They want us dead really bad. You want to talk about some of the COVID misinformation coming out of the Supreme Court?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Because Sotomayor revealed herself to be, you know, you hear from these people so rarely, and usually it's in a formal setting with like a legalese ruling. And because of that, this, and the Constitution interacts with the states, the federal balance. And then she's just like, 100,000 kids died from COVID. Or whatever.
100,000 kids in critical care and on ventilators from COVID. And the real number is 3,500. And half of them just happened to test positive when they were in the hospital for something else.
Yeah.
So like her and her whole team is watching Rachel Maddow. She's in charge of stuff. I thought when it came to Supreme Court stuff that it's like, that's our highest court. That's like our very high institution, like shouldn't be politicized and corrupted.
Yeah, unimpeachable. Almost,
unimpeachable. There's no one above it to kick it up to. So, which is kind of like, I thought was good because they're always going to be fair. But then you hear these people saying all these things that aren't true. Like, oh, Omicron's deadlier than Delta.
COVID deaths are at an all-time high.
COVID deaths are at an all-time high. Vax and masks is proven to work. Vaccine stop the spread.
Vaccine mandate would prevent 100% of U.S. cases from Breyer.
A vaccine mandate would prevent 100% of cases. And it's like, we already do that, and it didn't. What are you talking about?
Omicron is deadlier than Delta, too.
Omicron deadlier than Delta. Like, the least true thing. Like, if you had that prepared, those notes, and they handed it to me, and I'm going to go on in front of Congress or whatever, and one of my notes, one of my lines is Omicron's deadlier than Delta, I'd be like, yo, like, this is incorrect. Like,
guys,
do we have a different stat, or is this just mixed up? And she doesn't even know enough about what's going on to recognize that. And then who do we appeal this to? Who's above the Supreme Court?
She doesn't even know she's blowing her own credibility by these crazy
that's how little
statements.
info she has. Yeah. I know so much about COVID from the last few years. I know more about this than Sotomayor does.
Sure.
She's 100% affirmative action now. Sorry, Sotomayor. Everyone's like, whoa, she's a Latina judge. Oh. She knows nothing. She's an idiot. And now I'm starting to think the only reason she's in this in the first place is because she's a Latina judge.
She was an Obama appointee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Major Obama appointee.
He needed a diversity hire for that.
Especially for stuff like this. So, yeah. And then James O'Keefe also this week released those docs from DARPA.
Yeah.
That said in May 2020, they knew that hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin were curatives. Were cures.
So the House
we knew
of
that
Cards,
too. And we said that to everybody, and we told everybody, and they censored and shadow banned and got mad and all this stuff. And they said, oh, we have to have the vaccine because there's no treatments. And we're yelling, yeah, there are. Yeah, there are. We have all these doctors saying there are. Yeah. We have these doctors curing people, hundreds of people, with hydroxychloroquine, zinc, and azithromycin. Oh no, there's not enough data to support that. We can't trust it, even though it's been FDA approved for 50 years and given to pregnant women and nursing women. Oh, we can't approve hydroxychloroquine. We don't know enough about it. We don't know enough about it. But make sure you take the vaccine that was developed in 8 months.
And you know who gets the treatment? Joe Rogan and his friends. You know, anybody who asks Joe Rogan, he goes, "Oh, dude, hit up this doctor, do this." They just want to keep it from the layman, the average person. And so now it seems, obviously, all this information, a lot of things came out, Sotomayor, the comorbidities piece. So it seems like the House of Cards is now crumbling around them a little bit. And the question is, are they going to let it crumble and be like, move on and build it somewhere else? Or are they going to try to hold up the walls and make it kind of just a thing we live with again? Or what do you think they're going to try?
Well, isn't it crazy that like after, like they're holding the cards up that are falling on them, but it's like, they've said, oh, in the beginning, oh, we're just trying our best. No one really knows, even though we basically knew and we're yelling at them.
There was a lot of information.
Every decision they made, we basically yelled why it was wrong and why they shouldn't do it, why they should do something else instead, and no one listened. And now it's actually finally being proven true. And it's like, are any of these people fired?
Yeah.
If this was a company, it'd be like, okay, guys, like we got back afloat somehow. Like you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. You guys
were driving us right into a ditch, but man, we managed to pull up at the last minute.
You guys really like almost destroyed the whole country. You basically did. It's like you have to go to jail.
Yeah, or
but now
not
it's
jail,
like,
but exile, humiliation,
something bad. So now it's not the case. I guess no one's in trouble. The same people are now leading us going forward. And what are they going to do? Admit they were wrong? Dr. Fauci's going to say, yeah, I was wrong. The whole thing was made up from China on purpose. It was all part of a bigger plan. Fauci's in on it. They made it.
Going to be way more lab leak stuff coming out soon.
Lab leak. We said lab leak day one. We know China did this.
Where else did it come from? You think a bat soup? You think someone's bat soup?
He told us bat soup. We know.
He told us bat soup.
We know where it came from. This is like a planned attack from China. Dr. Fauci's in on it. He created it. Created the response to it, and now he's like manipulating the whole country with it. This is all part of the whole plan. Am I crazy? Oh, I'm crazy. Okay, put your cloth mask on. It does nothing. Put two of them on, and put your kid outside to read for reading time. That's what the schools are doing. They have kids sitting outside, and then
34 degrees.
Exactly, 30 degrees out. Kids sitting outside, and the Twitter reply from the school is actually kids like their mask break. Oh, their mask break.
They shouldn't have fucking masks on.
Yeah, because they have to put a cloth mask that does nothing on to go back inside. And it's like, there's no science here. And if you go outside every day in the 30-degree weather, you're probably going to get a cold. You're probably going to get sick. But no one listens anymore. I don't want to get back into Dan Crenshaw, but people like Dan is why this is, because people don't take a stand when they know the truth. They hear it and go, oh, well, it's a new thing for everybody, or we'll see what happens. Nothing to see here. We know what the truth is now. And we're getting taken in a bad direction by people who know what the truth is too, and they always did, and we have proof.
Yeah,
it's like, aren't they embarrassed, the Democrats?
No, they double down. I don't think they care. They never admit they're wrong. They're not. I mean, sure, embarrassed behind closed doors when something that their narrative like escapes.
That's so crazy to me.
Did you see the other thing about Indiana life insurance CEO says deaths are up 40% among people ages 18 to 64?
Yeah.
And it's not COVID.
And it's not COVID. It's suicide. It's fentanyl, drug overdoses, all kinds of bad stuff. Mental health is so bad for young kids, people in general. And it's like, oh, we got to keep everyone locked down. And then we have to keep everyone locked down because you can get the sniffles, the cold. And then you get it and everyone freaks out. And it's like, everyone's like going to the hospital with a mild cold. It's very bad. We're at a dark place as a country.
We're at the nosedive. We got to pull up out of it.
Yeah,
and
pull up.
Get back to reality.
What is it? Pull up.
Pull, Aaron. Pull up.
Pull up.
Terrain.
Pull up.
Terrain. Pull up. Terrain. Warning. Pull up.
Warning.
So
Warning.
You're either going to hear some black box last second messages from the former Empire of America, or we're going to pull up and figure it out.
Yeah, because the days of not knowing what the truth is and following someone else's lead are over. We know what the truth is, and you can have a choice. You could put your mask on that does nothing and just listen to Dr. Fauci because they want it to be easy. I don't want to give anyone a hard time. You can do that and keep getting led into terrain.
Terrain, pull up.
Or you can pull up and make a stand in a little way in your life. And then that spreads. If you do it in a store and someone else is thinking the same thing, but you can't lead if you're being led. And
So-
if you're being led by Muppets, you're going to start acting like a circus.
Exactly. And here's a good tip that I'm going to give everyone. If you see someone who you never saw before coming up on camera on TV interviews a ton, Dr. Fauci, Rachel, or is it Rochelle Walensky, the CDC lady? All these people who come out and you're like, hey, I'd never heard of this person before, but they're super credible and they're telling us what to do now. Those are the people you should be doing the most research on the opposite side of their takes, because they're puppets. They're being shoved out to do a job, and they've lost all credibility. I'm never going to look at a talking head and actually respect them without super critical thinking about the topic from here on out.
And it's a shame it had to go like this, because in the beginning we were saying, hey, our way's better, your way's flawed. And they said, our way's better, your way's flawed. And unfortunately, they went with their way. And now it's been 2 years, and we can literally look back and say the deaths are up, the lockdowns are worse than the virus, the red states are doing better than the blue states.
Yeah.
Zero COVID's never going to happen. Vaccines don't
look
do
at
anything
Florida versus
compared
California.
to, you know? Exactly. So it's like, oh, now everyone has to get vaccinated, to the point where even with the nurses now, where vaccinated nurses who are COVID positive are being told to come into work because they're short-staffed because they fired all the unvaccinated people, and the unvaccinated people don't have COVID, but you'd rather have a COVID positive person work because of the vaccine mandate. Like, it doesn't make sense. And instead of trying to find your way and like navigate through the mud and the clown world, it's never going to work out for you. You have to like remove yourself or stand up to it. So I don't know what else to tell everyone. So a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, Fleckus, my job's going to blah, blah, blah. It makes no sense. And it's like, don't work for a company that makes no sense.
Yeah, then say something. I mean, I don't know.
It's tough.
Do something. Stand
Get
up.
out. Get out. Get out.
The labor market's pretty good right now. Like, people are hiring and, you know, they're desperate.
Yeah.
So
and
maybe
also,
make a jump.
if you're, you can get hired by a conservative business in the same way that guy had the ad and said, if you like Joe Biden or are liberal, don't call us.
Do not call.
It's like, if you are refused to get vaccinated and got fired, call us. Like, they're going to have a lot of those. There are a lot of job openings, and you can find a nice community that has the similar beliefs, and it'll be worth it. Because if you don't and you stick with the job and you try to navigate, you get tested every day, they're going to keep ruining your life until you eventually leave. That's their goal. Or until they kill you. They want you dead.
Yeah.
So avoid that. Don't participate in Muppetry. That's the number one rule we have here on the show.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Thank you guys for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. ShopFuckus.com for the Dan Crenshaw Sucks merch. The guy sucks. We all know it. We also have Trader Joe's, Become Unpinnable, Kid Thrasher. We're going to kind of discontinue that one, but this is the last week to get it. Use code RHINO, RINO, and it's 15% off. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you at the next one.